and welcome to We Women Want. This is a show that we do every week where we celebrate women achievers. We also actually have curate conversations around those that need our support. We discuss gender issues. But today is obviously a day of celebration. I have with me two very strong women who are both on their on-screen and off-screen lives have actually helped us, guide us. We have Shabana Azmi and Divya Datta joining us for today's show. First of all, I want to congratulate both of you. We are here at the Yellowstone International Film Festival, where we just saw a screening of your movie film SheerQora, which is, as always with it's a film that actually challenges conventions, challenges norms, and pushes the button. And Shabana ji, if I may quote one of your, something that you have said, that art is not a lullaby. It's not just meant to soothe, but also to provoke, to question, to curate conversations such as this. So if I can have your first reaction.
Yes, I stand by that. I think it's very important to realize that art is an instrument that can be used for social change. And I don't think there is any immediate result. It's not like a litmus test. अभी आपने देखा और immediately आप अच्छे हो गए. But I think all art has the possibility to create a climate of sensitivity in which it is possible for change to occur. And when you see the standing ovation that we got for the film and the tears in everybody's eyes, you could see that in those 25 minutes, we were able to move, to shift a whole worldview.
In fact, as you were reminding me, we should also celebrate Swara Bhaskar and your producer Marike.
Yes. We are very, very sorry to not have Swara with us because she had a engagement. But Marike more than anybody else, because I think, of course, the credit entirely goes to Faraz. But if he had not had this powerful producer who has the intelligence to understand that for the cinema-going audience, you as a strong producer need to make a bouquet of films. So may they be big, huge entertainers like Brahmashastra and SheerQora in the same breath. I mean, I really hope more people, film producers, will take a lead from the example that she has shown.
And Divya, about SheerQora and of course your role in the film, you acted as a non-binary, in fact, and for Shabana, I'm going to ask her later. It's a far cry from her role in Fire. But a bit about the film, your role, and of course, congratulations on doing such a role.
Well, it's certainly been a very different role, but I'm glad we did because this is such a relevant film. Today, I think the strongest is a visual medium, and when you convey a message, we keep talking about LGBTQ and the rights and the freedom of choice, but to really actually execute it, we're still a long way to go. So I think what is the strongest is the visual medium because it impacts you, not just with words, but that thing that you take back home without even knowing it. So today's impact, as Shabana ji just mentioned, was so overwhelming to see people getting moved. I'm sure somewhere everyone takes it back with them, that they go a little changed for sure. It changed me as a person because I didn't know a lot of things, and now I do. And I see LGBTQ in a different way. So it changed me in a way. And this film, doing with a friend, his first directorial film, and a role that was very kind of relatable to his own life, was something really special. And the way people are coming out in the open after this film, and I have seen people come and hug everyone, all the cast and everyone, and say thank you for making this, because somewhere I think kahin na kahin fark padta hai ki somebody supporting them, somebody's there to say, just hold their hands and to help them just come out.
But Shabana ji, you did a role, I remember Fire, we all remember Fire, because that was such a unconventional and a very dramatic, brave role to do. Your journey from there to now, here of course you are the mother-in-law who doesn't understand, and at the end of the film you do accept them. So your journey from your film journey as this thing.
In terms of the character that I played in Fire and now the mother that I'm playing, they're on the opposite ends of the spectrum. And for an actor, I think that's the most enriching experience. To be able to experience the same world from two different points of view. And I know that the person that I play in the film is similar to so many women I know that are struggling with having to accept their children coming out in the open. And so I was able to identify with her very strongly. And I do believe if this film is able to move people who are in the position that I am, it will be doing a big service to society. Because ultimately, the film is saying that love can never be a sin. The film is saying that what we need is peace, and peace comes from love. Both messages which are so important in today's world.
But isn't it also interesting that it was a woman who's carrying the voice of the message? It wasn't the father-in-law, it's the mother-in-law, it's the woman who brings about the change also.
But you know, look at the brother. How beautiful is the brother? The brother's character is what moves me the most deeply, actually, because that's not what you expect from him. He's male and he's in that position, and you feel he's got this beautiful married wife, and so he'll be the conventional person. And then when he comes out with such kindness, then that moves me the most.
But Divya, your roles, even in Bhag Milka Bhag, you were the battered wife, the sister, and you were beaten up and all. So, is this somewhere where you say that I will take roles, not stereotypical roles that send a message? What kind of thinking goes on before you accept a role?
I don't think as much. I think whenever you hear a role or a script, your gut tells you that this is something you're going to really enjoy doing, and this is something very different. And when you look in the mirror, you'll see a different Divya. And that, I think, is a very exciting journey as an actor, to keep just breaking your own mode and just rediscovering yourself.
And is OTT helping more in that?
I would say it's a very democratic platform where you're seeing so many stories, so many different makers, such different variety of actors, all together on one platform where you just have to just click a finger, and that typical star system is kind of not there as of now, at least. The stories are the main thing, and the characters are the main thing. What I'm really loving is, a few years back when I was doing Veer Zara or something, people used to say, where do we put her as because she's not the lead in Veer Zara, but it's a very interesting role. So where do we place her? So today's times with the OTTs, I think these are the kind of roles everyone wants to do. So that thin line of demarcating all these things has kind of totally diminished out.
Also, Shabana ji, as we are here today, there's been a Supreme Court judgment on abortions, which is, recognizing that a single woman should also have the same thing as a married woman in terms of an abortion. We have that compared to the US judgment. So, in terms of progression, do you see that India is also changing?
I think it's a huge landmark judgment, and we definitely stand tall in the world as compared to America, that is supposed to be the great nation, is really crumbling at its edges. In today's day, to be anti-abortion makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. It's a woman and her right to her body, and surely that's non-negotiable.
And your reaction to that?
Well, I have to,
Not
just
disagree, yes, I
totally
know.
agree with this, because that's something that one has to be supremely proud of, that this kind of a thing has been taken. Because I think it just reiterates the rights of a woman for her body.
Do you see a time where we will also recognize LGBT marriages, and we're going, it's not a crime anymore, at least one step at a time?
One step at a time, it's gradually happening. You're seeing the difference, people are accepting, and gradually it's moving in. And as Shabana ji said, like the mother's character, people will really relate a lot. There's so many people out there who are just like that role. And so yeah, gradually it is coming around, and I'm sure we'll have a better world.
Shivani, you've always played very strong, unconventional women, from all your movies, I think from the very beginning, really. Where do you see, in terms of feminism, because I've been hearing a lot of your interviews where someone asked you that why do you iron your husband's kurta if you're a feminist? And you gave a very interesting answer. In fact, I would like you to repeat that.
I would love to hear
And
that.
how do you define feminism?
I think people have not understood feminism for what it actually is, and that creates a confusion in them, because when somebody said, why are you ironing your husband's kurta, you're a feminist, I didn't even understand the question, and I said, what has that got to do with feminism at all? This is something that I am doing for my husband because I want him to be in this kurta and I wanted to look a certain way. But the fact is that when I make very unconventional choices, he is there strong, shoulder to shoulder with me, exactly the way my father was with my mother. So I think this legislating the idea of feminism creates a lot of confusion, because today girls are saying, no, it means that if I iron your shirt, you must iron my trousers. It's not about that. It's about give and take. And so I think we need to clear that confusion a lot, because equality can be different for different people, you know.
So men and women are built differently, so you don't have to be like a man, but you need to
and
be
thank
equal.
God. Thank God that men and women are different but equal, right? And what is important is we are now recognizing that the world needs women to negotiate more space for themselves, because they have a different way of thinking, and solutions to all problems have been sought to be met by males. But if females think differently, that difference needs to be accommodated, whether it's in the arts, whether it's in politics, whether it's in the environment. You do not want to become a man in.
I like the thought. You want to add something to it, but I love the way this conversation is going.
You know, I love her relationship with Javed Saab, because it is such an amazing kind of, they're beautiful companions, and I always feel like, you know, if you have a companion, it should be like this. You don't reiterate a certain role that you're going to play. It can keep changing. That is the beauty of a relationship, where sometimes, you know, a woman is doing something, sometimes a man is doing something, and they're there for each other, nurturing each other and enjoying each other's company. I think that is more important than just saying, hey, I'm a feminist and I won't do this and I won't do that. Different connotations to it, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a stereotyping thing at all. But Shavana ji, also, you know, I totally agree with what you have said. In terms of, you know, today we are here, it's all about equality. Feminism is about choice and equality. And today, at this point, there's another conversation going on the wearing of hijab. You know, we have Iran women over there burning it. In India, we are fighting for the right to wear. So, you know, can you explain the two choices or the two narratives?
Firstly, the Quran does not ask you to wear the hijab. That is the most important thing. वो कहती कि आपकी नज़र में एक झुकाव होना चाहिए, and it's equal for men and for women. So it doesn't, if Saudi Arabia decides that this is what is required, it's a myth that there is a pan-Muslim identity. It's spread over 52 countries, and not all of them think in the same way. Woman, I love, एक बहुत छोटा सा शेर है कि ड्यूरिंग द पैंडेमिक ये बोला था कि मास्क लगाकर 2 ही दिन में थक गया वो आदमी, मास्क लगाकर 2 ही दिन में थक गया वो आदमी जो कहता था औरत को पर्दे में रहना चाहिए. This sums it up totally. Of course, there is absolutely no need for the woman to wear a hijab. It is not in the Quran, it is not needed, and you do not have to impose Arabic systems on to your country.
Your comments on this also, on the hijab controversy, and what Shavana ji said, it's at the end of the day, it is about choice. You know, if the woman wants to wear, fine, but she has to want to wear, not the man.
It's always about choice and the freedom to be given for the choice to be made. So yes, I mean, she's absolutely right when she says that it has to be a woman's prerogative to choose and have the choice to be able to wear it or not. And there is a certain tradition that you have कि आँख में वो होनी चाहिए, and वो tradition होता है, वो culture है आपका कि आप हमेशा वो डमी एक आदमी की आँखों में भी होनी चाहिए और औरत की आँख में भी होनी चाहिए. So yeah, that, I mean, we always as people misconstrue facts, and everyone has a different perception to it. So yes, we need to understand the correct meaning of what is being said and let others have the freedom of choosing.
Do you see in the world of Bollywood, I mean, we hear, of course, there are pay parity, same nahi hai, women and men ke beech mein, which is there in most professions, so why just Bollywood? But apart from that, is that gap closing, do you think?
I guess it is. I mean, absolutely. If you see the OTTs and all that stuff, you have all these women and even features. If you see, it's more of a demand and supply. I see so many of my colleagues who are there. Their pays are equivalent to their. I mean, of course, बहुत सारे लोगों में heroes को ज़्यादा मिलता है, अभी भी मिलता है. लेकिन अब change हो रहा है थोड़ा. If you see the OTTs, the women-oriented things, चाहे माधुरी हो, चाहे कोई नई लड़की हो, they are getting nicely paid and happily paid, and as much or more probably than their male counterparts.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, but we're going to come back and keep this conversation going about gender equality, about feminism, and of course about Shabana and Divya Datta. So stay with us. Hello and welcome back to We Women Want. We are in conversation with two women icons, and I think it's one of my best shows really. But Shabana ji, moving on, in terms of roles, in terms of stereotyping, are there some roles you would definitely not do? Maybe the woman as the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, some stereo labels that you are just bahut ho gaya.
Yeah, I wouldn't and have never done a film in which a film endorses that a woman should be a second-class citizen. I will never do a film that will endorse communal hatred. So it's very clear that my worldview is what gets reflected in the choices that I make. I remember there was a film that came to me and it showed woman in a subservient role, and I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And the director was absolutely shocked. He said, you're the main character. I said, yes, but what is the woman saying, for God's sake? And he said, you're making a very big mistake, but I do want to work with you. So I worked in a rather sort of light film of his, but refused to do this film. But unfortunately, the film still got made because there are other people who are willing to do it. But for me, see, I will play a very helpless woman if through the film you see a transformation, or if she remains helpless and it creates such a sense of outrage in the viewer that they feel this is wrong, then I will do it. But not if it is reinforcing the stereotype that women are less than men. That goes against everything that I've ever believed.
So art, as you said, not a lullaby, not to make people feel good, but actually to make people think also. In terms of roles, in terms of labels, do you see them, people moving more progressive, or women being shown in a better light, do you think?
Of course, you had mostly, I mean, we've had, of course, exceptions in every phase of the films that we've had. But more often than not, you've had them very limited to a certain category, like the heroine and, a negative or a total different one. Now, I think it is much more layered. You are accepting of the fact of a woman's vulnerable things, and I see so many layers, so many shades to a certain character, and people are wanting to see more of that. So it's lovely to want to see an actor do such a variety of roles and saying yes, we enjoy it. Earlier it used to be really judged कि अरे ये क्या किया, अरे क्योंकि अब ये image बन गई आपकी. So now that is not there anymore. The bigger variety you do and the more diverse roles you play, people love that, and I'm glad that change has happened. And for us actors, I think it's a great time because you do get to do such a vast variety of roles. Where people are not holding it against you कि अरे इसने ऐसा क्यों सोचा. So if I'm giving an idea, I'm saying इसको हम ऐसा करें, they're like, oh yeah, why not? So it's lovely. It's more what do you say, a teamwork rather than just say, okay, this is how it's going to be and this is how we're going to portray a role.
But Shabana ji, you're also a parliamentarian, so is there a more stereotyping that goes on in our legislative houses than on the...
No, that's becoming less and less, I must say, because women who are vocal are definitely making their place in the sun, and they are being listened to. The fact that we have so many women parliamentarians who are in extremely important decision-making positions is a very healthy thing.
But we are at a time we've had women finance ministers. India was one of the first to have a woman prime minister also. But are these just labels, or are these coming with real power also? Or is there, as you said, if a woman is in charge of the world, she'll make a bigger difference? Is that happening in India?
It's women have started getting the reins only now. So you cannot see immediate change, and it also depends on what agenda the women have come in. have they come in informed by the feminist agenda? That is very important. That training needs to be done, and it needs to be done at our school level, so that the way we view the world, unless we change that, these are little pebbles that we are throwing in the pond. But even so important, because the ripples that they are making are now becoming bigger and bigger concentric circles.
So at least the image or impression is beginning to be made, and it's reaching more people.
You know, I think it's really more not just a question of gender, but it is a question of gaze. It is perfectly possible for, and it is like a film like Shyam Benegal, a filmmaker like Shyam Benegal. He is a male filmmaker, but he has a female gaze. And there are lots of women who have no female, feminist तो छोड़ो, female gaze भी नहीं है. और वो जो है, they are merely making imitations of what men are doing it, and they are doing it under the guise of saying we are making choices. But I think that the fact that you are a woman should inform the work that you are doing. The fact that you are an Asian should inform the work that you are doing, because only then differences will start coming into the mainstream. And in no way must you think that being called Asian or being called women is reducing, but you have to bring the terms to equality, and then it will be a better place, the world.
And are there any issues that you would like cinema to explore? I'm going to ask both of you, but explore more, spend more time on.
नहीं, पहले तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि issues की बजाय independent cinema की अपनी जगह होनी चाहिए, and that is very important, because India is not a monolith and not everybody thinks in the same way. So you have to have independent films that are not catering to the lowest common denominator in the help of reaching the largest number of people. That's the most important thing.
Divya, where do you, final word to you really, in terms of any issues, any films that you think need to be made, any topics that need to be people need to be more aware of?
Just to continue where Shavana ji left, I do feel like the bigger makers, bigger producers should be really having a night, like a happy marriage with these independent films, and give them a hand. I think SheerQora is a case in point, where Faraz had a certain vision about making this story, beautiful story, but it's like an independent small story. But Marike coming in and saying, I believe in it and I'm going to take it to a wider audience. It's like they've taken it to every film festival that's possible and won like so many awards. And it's going everywhere that's possible, and now they're looking for a release as well. So one does need that for a film like this, which has a story to tell, to come to the main audience. So I think that is really important, rather than say कि ये बड़ी फिल्म ये छोटी फिल्म, सबको एक democratic वो मिलना चाहिए, और वो जो हम एक proposal making कर देते हैं वो थोड़ा सा कम होकर, अगर that will be I think a utopian world, but I think I'm like kind of really wanting more.
And why not? But congratulations both of you on making a movie like SheerQora, and also for Yellowstone Film Festival for giving you the award. Congratulations. Two women of style and substance. What more could we ask for on We Women Want?
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.